and welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here with you this morning, hearing that there is a great need for foster parents. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. Joining us this morning, we have Donna Romano, who is a foster parent. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Wendy Tracy, who is the Executive Director of Pathway Caring for Children. Good morning.
Hi, Susie. Thanks.
Well, happy to have both of you here. First of all, some people may not have heard of Pathway. Tell us a little bit about the history of your wonderful organization.
Well, we are a foster care, mental health, and a post-adoption agency. We have been around since 1973, so about 42 years ago. And Jim and Velma Bridges, they're our founders. They started Pathway with just 6 boys in a group home, and now we have expanded to serve over 600 children and families a year.
Just amazing. I understand Velma, Jim, of course, has passed on.
That's
Velma
right.
is still working with you, doing
She is.
training?
Yes, we're very blessed to have her still with us. So she trains our foster parents, and she still gets to keep that connection, which is very great.
What do you find out? Are you still doing group homes, or are you getting more and more families to take students or children into there?
We do not have group homes anymore. We do have foster homes. We really concentrate on having every child to have a family, and that's really what we try to focus on is the foster homes.
And if brothers and sisters are together, do you keep them together, or do they have to go to different homes, or how does that work?
It all depends on the sibling group. We always try to keep sibling groups together. And our children come from the counties. So the counties have custody of the children. We do not hold custody of a child. So the county will kind of contract with us for our foster homes. So we will place the children in our foster homes, and the county can have say whether the children need to stay together or if they need to be separate. And we are in such a high need to have more foster homes. Sometimes we don't have a foster home that will take 2 children. They might have only one bed or one bedroom, and it's a sibling group of a boy and a girl. So if we have more foster homes, we would be able to match them appropriately.
And when we say that there is a huge need for more foster parents, what are we talking about? How many children don't yet have a home?
Well, for Pathway, we get on average about 25 referrals for a foster child a week.
Oh, my.
We could possibly place 11 of those that would be right for Pathway if we had more homes.
And these are not babies being born. These are children that are of all different ages. Where do they come from?
Absolutely, all different ages. It used to be the time where getting a baby was rare. Now we are finding that more babies are being referred, and they are being referred in sibling groups. We have a lot of moms that have given birth to their babies as they were drug addicted, and they have a lot of drug and alcohol issues that they have to work on. So the babies are being born drug addicted. So they're coming in multiples, and we have a huge need for foster homes for teen girls as well.
Okay. Well, let's get to that. I think there is definitely more than one person that is listening right now, and this has been on their heart, I'm sure, and nothing is by chance. So you know who you are. You know this has been weighing on you, and you just have maybe some hesitations because you're not sure about the wisdom of bringing maybe a child who has issues into your home with your own children, or whatever the hesitation happens to be. We have got Donna Romano here with us, who has fostered how many children?
Probably 26, 27, and we only foster teenage boys.
And I said, there is a special corner in heaven for you.
Over the years, for the majority of the time, we've had 3 foster boys in our home, plus our own birth son. So we had 4 boys in our home, and just the setup of our home, it worked well. Fostering is not like taking care of your own birth children. But I work for the training department at Pathway, and they provide tremendous training to give us new tools for our life tool bag. Because when our children come in, oftentimes they are broken and they're wounded but they don't even know they are, because this is the only life they've ever lived. And they come in with no idea of what is really on the other side of the fence from the pasture they've lived in. So the skills that you need to foster, we will help you to build those skills. And once you have a child, we will help you. We are there every day, 24 hours a day, to help you on this incredible journey.
Now, this has been something that your son, your birth son,
Yes.
has been on this journey with you ever since he was how old? How old was he when you began fostering?
He was a freshman in high school and 16 years old, and he was always an only child. We were married almost 20 years before we had him, so it was an adjustment. But we also worked very carefully with him, along with Pathway's help, to make the adjustments. So we didn't make too many mistakes, too many unwise decisions, and we made the decision, since he was 16, not to foster an older child than he was. But Tony has adjusted well, and it has really helped him expand his world beyond himself.
So he went, just trying to put myself in his shoes, he went from being an only child, that's his normal, that's his
Right.
world, to having as many as 3 brothers
Right.
all at once. That had to be wild at your house. I can't think of another word to describe it.
Well, we were fortunate to have good facilities at our home. We had a pontoon boat for my husband to escape fishing with
Always
the boys.
wise, yes.
Right. And we had an in-ground pool. So I was home a good bit, and it just fell into place for us. But I can honestly say we didn't have too many serious issues with having that many boys in the house, because my husband and I were both running full speed at what we did.
Had to be a lot of fun. I mean, has this been kind of huge fun?
Well, if you're the type of person, and I don't think I am, that doesn't have a lot of control issues, because at some point it just had to not be important to get the sweeper run every Saturday. And some things, it just had to become not important, because we had 3 young men in our lives that had so many needs, and we were so willing to do this that our lives changed, and they really did change for the better part.
Wow, that is such a wonderful thing to hear. Yeah, the sweeping thing. Welcome to the life of a boy mom. I mean, that's just the way that goes.
Absolutely.
But also for your son, I'm thinking those were not always the same 3 people.
No, they weren't.
The faces were changing all the time. He was, in a sense, fostering along with you, yes?
He definitely was, because some of our boys came and some of our young men aged out. We had a couple runaways, but for the most part, they would stay a year or 2, and some of them stayed much longer than that. One of our young men came 2 days into 13 years old, and he left when he was 24, long out of fostering, but he just fell into becoming our son. And so it has been an incredible journey, but it helps you to change yourself from the inside also.
What were some of the issues that you found yourself dealing with, you personally? Did you have some kind of trepidation about bringing young men who you know are dealing with some things, acting out with your own birth son in the home?
Absolutely. And I think some of the situations were, and this comes from training, is when things got tough, and with teenage boys, they could get pretty tough pretty quickly, was to back out of the scene and learn not to respond so quickly to them. A lot of times I would say, I know you're upset and you know I'm upset. So what do you think about taking a break, and we'll talk later? And from their point, it looked like they were making that decision, And that worked well because that's what they needed, was to control the situation. I don't believe there was ever a time that they were willing to step down and talk later. So it's learning different parenting skills that really come in handy.
Wow. Yeah. We are talking with Wendy Tracy, who's the Executive Director of Pathway Caring for Children. And you're hearing right now from Donna Romano, who is a foster parent, and you work with training as well.
Yes.
How long has that been an employment job for you?
Probably about 14 or 15 years.
Wow.
And we teach a state-mandated course of pre-service, which is 54 hours for new parents coming in. 54 hours, and then we also teach ongoing classes. Our foster parents need 30 hours a year ongoing. So I teach that, and that's where Velma also teaches at. And we teach pre-service for incoming parents. And
What another thing I think would be very difficult would be anticipating then the separation of when someone leaves. How do you deal with that?
it depends on where there's some of my teenage boys.
It was easy.
Age, yeah, absolutely.
Some easier than
Not
others.
so much.
But you must become very close to these.
Some
young
of the children you do. Some of them have this endearing quality. But I think one of the things that we need to understand up front is our children, it's like they're coming in from a battlefield. And oftentimes they have not developed the ability to give back. And I am certain that on down the road, many of our children incorporated things in their lives that they learned at our home.
I'm sure they do.
One of my boys, as he was leaving, and I go over this in pre-service, is we got him from a detention center, and he was a very tough kid, and he was with us a year and a half, and he aged out. And the day he left, he says, "You know, Donna, when I get married, I ain't ever going to throw spaghetti, and I ain't ever going to beat my kids." And I thought, you know what?
Wow.
Victories come in small packages sometimes, and we have to accept that we've gotten something on board in their lives that will travel with them.
Wendy, how typical is Donna as far as one of your foster families?
Well, Donna had just mentioned so many great qualities that we need in a foster parent, and she has them. You really have to be able to bend, to be that branch that sways in the wind and not that branch that's going to break. You have to go into this kind of with a mission focus. If you are going into this thinking that, what am I going to gain from this? It's not going to be as successful as what am I going to be able to provide to a child?
Yes.
And so many of our foster parents are exactly that way. That is what our children need. And we believe that you have to work with the whole family. You can't just work with the child. So, when children leave to go back home, it's very tough. And some families are done after one. But so many more understand, you know what, I helped that child. I got that child to go back with their family. I was part of that successful process, so I can do it again because I made a difference in the life of a child.
And we're trying to recruit, so we will be very out in the open about that. We are trying to recruit more families to be able to take in foster children. You're listening to Our Community.